Hi, doggy.
Hello, chat. We meet again. Oh. Hi, Mr. Bark. How's every Hammie doing? I hope you guys are doing great. Happy Monday if I didn't see you earlier. Happy Monday again if I did. Let me go ahead and say hello to every Hammie. Hello, Johnny. Hello, Malice. Hello, Grim. Hello, Super Manager. Hello, Kiryu. Hello, Chikan. Did I get everyone? Did I get everyone? I think I got everyone. Hi. I hope you're doing great. Mr. Bark is doing amazing. May likes to be aloof at night and sleep under the bed, but when I was up, she's always on the bed with me and often under the covers. That's so cute. May's so cute. I want to snuggle May. Mr. Bark, I've been writing the high of him being snuggly since I woke up this morning, and it's the best. I saw Hammie get a cool demon arm today. It's true. We caught it on the Mr. Bark cam. Was it a science arm or a religion arm? Unfortunately, a religion arm. I think I'm pretty close to getting my, finishing my first playthrough of Silent Hill F, so I think we're gonna try and do that tomorrow, actually. I think we're gonna try and do that tomorrow. It's gonna be awesome, and I know that there's like multiple endings though, because it's a Silent Hill game. Of course there's multiple endings. Thank you for the lurk, Chikan. Incoming 15-hour Hammie stream. You know, maybe we can probably do it in about 3 or 4. We'll see, we'll see. We left off at a really good spot today though. I'm pretty excited to see what the rest of the game holds for me. It's so good so far. I do not regret burning the candle at both ends just so I could finish it. But I am a little bit tired, so if tonight's stream doesn't go on super late, don't be too surprised. But I do implore you to go check out the game that we're playing tonight. It is called the Ghost of Alcantra. And it is for free on the Steam store. Yeah, Steam store. So you can have a free visual novel, and if you like what you see tonight, definitely go check it out. But yeah, let's see. We're gonna start off with Fat Bear Week, of course, because we didn't earlier. I kind of just wanted to hop into Silent Hill earlier. So, I want to look at some Fat Bears. I know the semifinals started today, so I'm really excited about that. The bears are very fat. double hamathon. Hell yeah, it's one of those days. Don't get too used to it, but... Oh, hi Gamazel, welcome readers. I hope you guys are having a wonderful stream, or had a wonderful stream. We are about to get into a visual novel called The Ghost of Alcantra. But first we're voting for Fat Bear Week. If you guys need to take a break and go grab some dinner, grab lunch, whatever your time zone meal is, please take care of yourselves or even go get some water. Otherwise, thank you, Gamazel, for trusting me with your community. How are you doing? I'm doing all right. I've been a little tired lately, but not really much to complain about. Been doing a lot of streaming, because I'm participating in Studio Elan's Fall in Love Visual Novel Festival, but also I just kind of want to play Silent Hill, so I've been doing that a lot too. But how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. And of course, the self-care does apply both to you, the raiders and the streamer. But yeah, who's ready to see some really fat bears? It looks like today it's 856 versus 128 and 602 versus 32. So both of these I voted for, I think, at one point. But this is the bear that reminds me of Dungelskog, so I think I'm gonna have to vote for him. Plus, he also looks a lot more slimmer. It's really close. I think 128 Grazer might have some more muscle than 856. I think I'm gonna vote for 856. And if you guys want to vote too, here's the link to Fat Bear Week. I'm thinking I'm gonna vote 856. What was the name of the cruise ship visual novel? It was Distant Oceanic Getaway. Here, I can grab the Steam link for you too. Give me just a fast second. There you go. There's that. Hi, Sega CD. Welcome. I'm doing good. I got my TB treatment ended 2 weeks ago, and I've been feeling a lot better since. Well, after I got over the fever that caught me at the very end of the treatment. Oh my goodness, it sounds like you've been going through a lot. I'm glad that you're feeling a lot better now, at least. I hope you're able to stay up on the upmend of it. Is that the word, upmend? I don't know. But I hope only it gets better and better from here. Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna vote for this guy. I'm gonna vote for 856. Yeah. There we go. I'm not a robot. Alright, so there's our first one. It looks like our bear is winning. No problem. Thanks for the lurk. And then here, it is definite. Oh man. Actually, no. His 32 chunks tummy almost touches the floor. Almost touches the floor. I think it might be 32 chunk here. This is a tough one. 32 chunk is definitely the chunkiest though, I think. We're gonna vote for him. He is a beast. I like him. He kind of looks a little, he looks a little bit like Dungelskog too. Hampter. 32 chunk is currently winning. Go 32 chunk. Go my bear. My fat bear. I wonder, we're gonna eventually have to put 856 against 32 chunk, and I don't know if 32 chunk even compares to 856. Or I mean the other way around. 856 doesn't hold a candle to 32 chunk. What a name, 32 chunk. We do love fat bears. We do love fat bears around here. We love them quite a bit. Anyway, now that we have voted for our fat bears, and I hope you have too, Why don't we go ahead and play a visual novel? That sounds pretty good tonight, I think. I've just been vibing to the menu music for a little bit. Ref is our favorite fat bear. I love pointing at things. I love pointing at things and saying that's Ref to anybody near me that gets it. Hi, one of the two devs for the Ghost of Alcantra here. Looking forward to seeing you check out our game. Thank you. I really appreciate it. The last visual novel I read was Fata Morgana. Fata Morgana is one of my favorites. I love Fata Morgana. It's so good. I would say that Fata Morgana and Umineko are probably my top 2 visual novels I've read. Your last visual novel was Nukitashi? Oh, it's Chopin. Okay. It's beautiful. I've just been listening to it like all for the last like hour. Here, I've got to really quickly update my information really fast. Give me a quick second here. Gotta get out of just chatting. You get a little bit of typing ASMR. Ooh, oh, the music is classical. I'm so excited. I've been really looking forward to this one. I've been looking forward to like all of the stories I picked out, but I'm really excited. Just really excited. Oh. But if you want to cry, you should go check it out on Steam. It's free. And it looks like there's a lot of love that went into it. Very pretty, very pretty. And there's a music box. All right, shall we go ahead and get started, chat? I'm gonna take a sip of water. Dedicated to Nick, who helped me turn a dream into a story. What a pretty photo. Part 1, Setting Sun. June 6th, 1987. I sometimes wonder how much the world would change if I saw it as someone else. Take Mrs. Williams over there. She manages to keep up a polite smile on her wrinkled old face as she nods along with Mrs. Johnson's babbling about how great her kids are. But in the gaps of their one-sided conversation, you can see Mrs. Williams' eyes betray the smile on her face as she looks past Mrs. Johnson to somewhere further away. Actually, I think I might turn the BGM just down a little smidge here. Oh, the backgrounds were taken by the two of you? That's awesome! That's really cool. Mrs. Williams' husband died a year ago after a long battle with an autoimmune disorder. The world of Mrs. Williams, is it bright like a smile or gray like a vacant stare? Without her story, you'd never know. Ooh, I see what you mean, Johnny. It does give that vibe, doesn't it? Then there's Farmer Todd, who is lecturing a couple of kids who are misbehaving. He's a typical grouchy type, never happy with how the world is, never happy about what people are doing. Despite that, if you pay careful attention, you can see Father Todd trying to suppress a smile. His wife and kids died in a traffic accident with a logging truck, and ever since, he's decided to do what he can to help guide others. The world of Farmer Todd, is it the world of someone irritably chipping away at their lonely days, or the world of someone determined to make this world a slightly better place? Each and every one of us, we're all a Mrs. Williams or a Farmer Todd, individuals with unique inner worlds. All of us have a story worth sharing. I bounded along the canal front walkway, adorned with festival stalls as the evening sunset began its retreat. Why was I having these types of thoughts? I guess it's because the story this festival is based on. On the first weekend of every June, our small town of Alcantra, located in the northern tip of Michigan, holds a festival with the extremely original name, the Summer Festival. Once upon a time, Alcantra was a town named Connington, which was known for copper mining and lake fishing. Then a little over 100 years ago, the leader of the town, Alistair Thorne, proposed changing the town name to Alcantra in remembrance of his recently departed lover. The story goes that Alistair had been on the brink of death, and just as he was about to pass on into the afterlife, the ghost of his beloved Alcantra met him on the fringes between life and death and convinced him he needed to live. He was able to make a recovery, and afterwards he decided to rename the town in honor of his wife and proposed an annual festival in remembrance of her. To this day, we still celebrate the summer festival every weekend of June, though what was once a celebration about cheesy sentiment like the endurance of love and the importance of connection has devolved into a wonderful excuse to get drunk, light up explosives, and eat lots of cheap food. Not that the typical Midwesterner needed any excuse to do those things. It's true! Maybe it's because I'm not allowed to drink yet, or that most of the food I eat is already pretty cheap, but I always think of this festival in relation to its romantic origins. While I doubt that I'll ever meet anyone that loves me enough to meet me in purgatory to convince me to live, I do like the idea that the new perspectives can open up the world in ways that would be impossible with just your own. I imagine that what Alcantra told Alistair was a story of her life, and it was that story that convinced him to live. We need other viewpoints, not just our own, to help us get through life. As I was having these thoughts, I saw Mrs. Williams managing to flee from Mrs. Johnson's verbal barrage and decided I would put my sentimental feelings on hold to get some ice cream from the Johnson stall. Hey, Nick! Glad you could stop by. Walberton and Terrence not with you today? Yeah, just me today. Walberton's family is out fishing and Terrence has decided he's too cool to go to local festivals. Believe solitude is the way to go. Mr. Johnson chuckled in response. Well, tell you what, kid, since I don't want you to feel lonely, I'll give you an extra cone. I rolled my eyes, but accepted the charity. Say, wasn't Mrs. Raddick supposed to be helping you out with your stall? I feigned concern about the efficiency of their ice cream operation, but I was mostly concerned about the quality. Mrs. Raddick was a quiet woman who didn't talk much, but man, did she know desserts. I was a big fan of her bakery downtown, though I had no doubt she could work her miracles for an ice cream stall too. Mrs. Johnson huffed. Yeah, where is Marina? Very unlike her to bail. I'm going to have to stop by this evening and give her a good scolding. She knows how much the town looks forward to our stall every year. Yeah, not like her at all. Hope she's all right. I thanked the Johnsons for the ice cream, struggled to pay with my 2 cones in my hands, and left them grumbling about Mrs. Raddick's absence. The fireworks show was going to start soon and I had my special spot to get to. My special fireworks spot was a little clearing at the bottom of a path heading towards the shore. I'm not really a loner, but I always watch the fireworks alone. This little excursion was my yearly excuse to find myself under the lights of a supposed centuries-long romance. I weaved my way through the crowd till I made it to the outskirts of the festival. I finished up my ice cream as nightfall began to settle in, though the calming ambiance of the emerging moon did little to quiet the racket behind me. I never understood fireworks as a group spectacle. Nothing like the cheering of crowds, the hollering of drunks, and the crying of children to kill the atmosphere. That's why I wanted to watch the fireworks from my special spot. As I was just about to head through the trail to get to my fireworks spot, I saw a girl sitting on the grass by the canal front. She's so pretty. Oh, I know this song. Especially after playing 100 Line recently. She wore a simple but elegant summer dress and sat with downright offensively good posture. But what caught my attention the most was the expression on her face. She had a blank look with empty eyes. She was facing the canal, but taking in nothing. It looked like a gust of wind could take her far away from here. The closer I got, the more I could sense that there was a loneliness to her. Solitary fireworks viewing was my thing, but solitude is best when it's chosen, not when it's routine. It is. I thought about the summer festival and what it meant to me, and decided it was worth the attempt to see if there was anything behind that empty expression. I cautiously headed over to her. She didn't look like anyone I knew, so she probably wasn't from Alcantra. Alcantra is a small town of about 5,000 people, and everyone knows each other. I would definitely recognize someone from my school. I guessed she was visiting for the festival. Your dress is so pretty. Are you here to see the fireworks? She looked over, startled, panicking at having been addressed. Could you believe when Ruff played The Evil Within, he didn't recognize this piece? I think I was there for that. I was lurking, but I think I was there for that. That makes me giggle. Oh, music track name appears on the upper left when the music changes. Gotcha. I was so locked in on the text. Her look then turned into a wary sort of glare. I began to regret my decision. Who voluntarily subjects themselves to small talk? After taking her time to glare at me, she answered, I am. And then said nothing else, leaving it up to me to be the conversationalist. She continued to look at me as if trying to figure out my character, which prevented me from throwing a, well, it was nice meeting you, see you later, and fleeing. I soldiered on. I'm Nick Fox. I'm guessing you're not from around here. She hesitated, then slowly nodded her head. Where are you from, then? None of your business. She spat back at me quickly. A little taken aback, I regretted my soldiering on and thought that she was probably just wanted to be left alone. I began to start walking away when she spoke again. Sorry, there are secrets a girl has to keep to herself. Well, okay, that's fair. I've heard about the summer festival before, but I've never gotten to actually attend. This is my first time getting to go. She seemed more willing to talk now. I thought I saw the faintest glimmer of a smile show up. I suspect it's because guys are easily swayed by smiles, even by the ghost of one. But I decided I could at least be a good host and recommend her a good viewing spot for the fireworks. Well, the fireworks show starts in a few minutes. There's a spot through the path there that has a great view. You're welcome to join me. She hesitated before slowly getting up. Sure. I nodded and headed toward the path. She walked behind me. So, you got a name? Yes. I waited for her to tell me her name, but I guess she had that regal air about her. Maybe she wasn't used to dealing with us commoners and didn't throw her name around so casually. What is your name then? It's Alexandria. You have a last name? I asked because there is a good chance I would know someone she's related to if she was visiting, given that everyone knows everybody around here. Ooh. You can thank the author's sister for the outfit suggestions for Alexandria. Very nice, very nice. There was a brief silence as she thought about it. Who has to think about their name? It is really cute. I like her design quite a bit. Sorry, I can't tell you that. I sighed. Another one of those secrets you girls have to keep? Yes, but I also don't answer strange questions from guys I haven't met before. She was very guarded and short with her responses, but honestly, from the tone of her voice, I get the feeling she wasn't that upset with me. We exited the trail and the clearing emerged. I sat down where you could see the fireworks best. I decided to break the ice by introducing myself. Well, I'm Nick Fox. I'm a senior at Alcantra High. It's nice to meet you. She sat down a good distance away from me and gave me another wary glance. Tell me, do you often try to pick up strange girls at night? Hi, Bahamadiza! Welcome! Is it chicken butt? Is it corgi butt? I can show you corgi butt. It's right here. Oh my goodness! Thank you, Bahamadiza! Thank you! Valorant gave a bunch too, it looks like. Oh my goodness, let me see. Oh, you got Margot. That's Mimi's friend. Sleepy Eepy Girl. I remember them in chat. And Nico Mew. We've got some new people there. If you guys happen to be in chat right now, make sure you say thank you, okay? But if you're shy, I'll say thank you too. Thank you so much. Bahamut, is that so kind of you? I really appreciate it. Sorry, I'm still trying to see if I recognize some of these names. Valorant stealing the Margot gift sub out from under me. I just recently ran into Margot for the first time. Wanted to beat that score, but they pulled the trigger. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I can't believe Valorant did steal the Margot sub. That's really funny. That's really funny. I really appreciate it again. Thank you so much. Maybe I can get Pokemon this month. Or not this month, but whatever Pokemon comes out. Is that November? I don't even know anymore. The author, who is your best friend of 20 years, wrote this while he was working on his dissertation in philosophy. Oh, that's really cool. It comes out in October? Shit. I gotta get my life together, Chad. I gotta get my life together. I hope it's after payout day. I want to play Pokemon. I want to play Pokemon really bad. But thank you. I'll get back to it. I'm gonna take a sip of water really quick, but yeah, September's almost over. Oh man, it was here and now it's gone in a blink. Well, at least she recognized that she was strange. I decided to jab back. No, I don't, and I'm guessing you're not used to being talked to? She gave a sad sort of smile that made me regret my little jab. No, I'm not used to being talked to. That made me regret my jab even more. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Don't worry about it. Silence descended between us while I tried to think of reassuring platitudes to give her while she sat calmly with a dignified air. She may have been lonely, but she was used to it. The thought made me a little sad. Before I said anything, the fireworks began, a dazzling and dizzying light show accompanied by distant cheers. Even with all the noise, the silence between Alexandria and I was much more striking. I want to go to a fireworks show. You're not going to really find any of them. Oh my goodness! Oh, thank you, Kitty! I really appreciate it! Oh, Valorant got grim! I recognize a lot of people that got caught that time. I really appreciate it. You got Gamazzle, you got Mocha Boba, met them the other day, and I also see some of my usual lurkers. I won't call them out because they want to lurk. But if you guys are in chat, make sure you say thank you, okay? Thank you, Kitty. I really appreciate it. Oh my goodness. This is what the kids call a pogged bones. That's very kind of you guys. Thank you. I'm getting really spoiled tonight. I think my face is a little red. No stream elements. Oh, thank you very much, Kitty. I really appreciate it. I really want that Pokemon. Oh, yay, to celebrate. Yay. Yay, I'm so excited. A successful September. Wait, hold on. We're gonna, the hype train, it's at level 4 now. So we're gonna get a good emote, I bet. I'm manifesting that every Hammie gets a good emote tonight. I think they added a bunch of new ones recently, and the ones I've seen are really, really cute. So hopefully you get a good one. We can only hope. All right. I wasn't paying much attention to the show, the novelty of the rest of the experience being much more interesting. What a cute, that one's really cute. The turtle. Oh, I think I I've seen that one. The Gimme That. That one's really good. That one's really good. I think Malice got a really good one the other day. I'm trying to remember if it was Malice or who it was. Maybe the one Grim posted was the one I'm thinking of. I'm a little sleepy. I glanced over at her and saw that her expression had changed a little. Not by a lot, though. I guess not even the splendor of explosives could completely wipe away whatever melancholic feelings she might have felt. Ooh, let me look at that one. Oh, that one's really good. That one's so good. That one has the same timing as the cat, the really chunky cat walking on the treadmill to Staying Alive. If you haven't seen that. But this time, that empty look was accompanied by a hopeful glimmer of a smile. Despite having given up my solitary tradition, it was probably worth it to share a part of my world with her. When the show ended, I probably wouldn't see her again. Mildly hopeless as I am, I wanted the sentiment of the festival to ring true. After a moment of time that felt like it lasted both mere seconds and an eternity, the fireworks were over. All we were left with was the afterglow of a celebration and the glowing glow of the stars above. So, you enjoy the show? If you're visiting, there's not a whole lot to do here, but at the very least, the people here know gunpowder. She got up and dusted off her dress. I did. It was a great show. She hesitated and then continued on, speaking very hurriedly, like she thought she might not get the opportunity to do so later. I'd been in a position where I didn't get to interact with people very often, especially people my age, so I'm sorry if I was a little awkward. I don't have many friends. I have everything I need and very little of what I actually want. But recently, something good happened to me and I got the opportunity to come here. I had heard the summer festival and I loved the story of the town of Alcantra. As for hobbies, I read lots of novels of all types, but I love mysteries and romances the most. I can't tell you my last name, my situation, or where I'm from, but at the very least I can tell you that I'm very glad you invited me to see the fireworks with you. She flashed me a bright smile. While the lonely look sort of suited her, I thought this one suited her more. Anyway, I have to go now. My caretakers will be waiting for me. Caretakers? I guess she wasn't staying with family while she was visiting. She gave me a small wave. Bye, Nick. I waved back. Welcome back, Angry Seal. Hello, hello. Just in time for the hype train to be successful. Let's see how an open mine. Oh, that one's really cute. Let me show you. I like it. I like it. Thank you guys for the hype train. It made me really happy. Oh, it's really good. It's really good. See you later, Alexandria. She headed back towards the trail. I sat in silence, left in her wake for a bit, and then followed suit. On the way home, I became reflective again, thinking of the world she lived in and what it was like. Thinking about that, I began to hope that I might see her again. Hi, Mr. Bark. Welcome back. You missed so much. Perhaps I was looking for a place to die. I certainly didn't make an effort to get out of the way of the motorcyclist. I didn't know if it was because I couldn't or because I didn't want to. I had been walking up a slope on the north side of town. It was nighttime and the cold air betrayed the beginning of the warm season we were supposed to be in. As I neared the top of the slope, I heard a shrill cry of an engine. By the time I looked up, the motorcyclist had already lost control going around the turn at the top of the slope. Oh no. Then in the next moment, it was barreling toward me. I barely had time to register the pain before I was flat on my back, gasping for breath. Hello, Echibaka, too. Wait, hold on. I turned my head back to see the motorcyclist. They had hit a tree and would have been dead on impact. I knew I would soon join him. I had returned to my hometown of Alcantra after many years. I don't know why I came back. I hated the place. I had bad memories from all of my previous time here. The streets, the water, the air, all of it was permeated with my guilt and regret. Hello, hello. No matter where I looked, what I did, or who I talked to, I couldn't get away from those feelings. I had tried to escape, but it was futile. No one can run away from themselves. This wasn't such a bad place to die. It was quiet and peaceful, and the top of the slope gave me a great view of the stars. Oh man, this person's not super positive, huh? I used to love looking at the stars. They shined so brightly to me before. Looking at them now, they barely shone at all. It's funny. Looking at the stars now, they seemed farther away than ever, they seemed farther away than ever, even though I was about to join them. I reached out my hand to try and grasp a star. Of course, my hand never came close. I let my hand fall back down to the ground. I wasn't close to the sky, the stars, or to her. Now, finally, I might be able to see her again. My evanescent, but ever-present ghost. I'll be with you soon. Let's dance among the stars, you and I. Smiling, I closed my eyes, and I faded, faded, faded. I was fading, but getting closer and closer to a bright light. It was far too bright. This sort of radiance, this sort of warmth, I didn't deserve it. I could hear a woman's voice beckoning me to come. Oh, I'm not falling for that. I'm not stupid enough to go toward the light, not one as beautiful as that. The woman was pleading, begging for me to join her. I saw a glimpse of what lay beyond that light. It was wonderful and happy. It was too good to be true. Sorry, I'm looking to be reunited with a ghost, but you can't be the one I'm looking for. The ghost I'm looking for wouldn't beckon me to a wondrous place like this. I turned away from the light. There was no place for me there. If that was heaven, that's not what I deserved. I'm wretched and despicable, and I deserve punishment. Ignoring the pleading, crying, and begging from the woman's voice behind me, I faded away again. And faded, and faded, and faded. This time I faded towards a deep darkness. Yes, this is where I belong. Once again, I heard a woman's voice. This time, the voice simmered with scorn. The words were filled with malice. The tones were dripping with venom. Yes, you must be the ghost I'm looking for. I headed to that darkness and to her voice. It was a voice filled with so much hatred, but it was enticing and enrapturing to me. This is where I belong. This is where it would end for me. I faded away, and faded, and faded, and faded, and faded away. I awoke to the irritating beeping of a vital signs monitor. With some effort, I managed to sit up in my bed. I glanced around the room. I figured out quickly that I was in the hospital. I'm guessing my injury was pretty bad. My arms and legs seemed to work fine, though I was hooked up to several machines. I was alone in the room with nothing but the sterility of the hospital atmosphere to keep me company. It wasn't pleasant company, and I wanted to find a button that would summon medical staff over, but I figured it'd be a bad idea to just start pressing buttons. I'd wait for the return of a nurse or doctor. I laid back down and reflected on the current situation. I didn't seem to be dying. My body worked, my mind worked, but I was strangely empty. Yes, that's the word to describe it. Empty. There is nothing to me but only lingering feelings of guilt and sorrow. I didn't know why I felt guilty. I didn't know why I felt sad. I tried to think about my situation. Obviously, I must have had some people in my life who would be concerned about me. They must be around somewhere. I tried to think of who those people would be. Are there any? I tried to remember friends, but I couldn't remember any. Lovers? I must have had some, but I couldn't remember any. Perhaps I was a hermit and didn't associate with others. Okay then, let's think about me. Me. What's my name? I don't know. What's my age? I don't know. Where am I from? I don't know. What did I do? I don't know. What happened to me? People know these things about themselves. Why can't I answer those questions? Obviously my brain is working, but I guess it's not working as well as it should. I started to panic. I realized why I felt so empty. Without memories, there was no me. I was only an outer shell with nothing inside. My breathing quickened and I started grasping at the machines bound to me. I needed to get out of here. Anywhere but here. It must be the hospital. I'm not responding well to whatever happened to me. I need a change of scenery, maybe some fresh air. That might help jog my memory. Sensing my panic, a chubby man with a graying head of hair to match a graying beard came in to see my tangled frenzy with nearby machines rushed over. Stop! Stop! Calm down. You're all right. Let me explain the situation. You'll be all right. Saying that wasn't going to calm me down, but I was weaker than I thought because he easily took my hands off the devices and gently laid me back down on the bed. It struck me that I was being stupid. Of course the doctor would have to know something about me and we could go from there. Rationality prevailing, I calmed down. While the doctor took deep breaths and patted at some sweat on his forehead with a handkerchief, I asked him, "So, what's wrong with me?" The doctor stopped mid-sweat pat to look at me. He slowly put the handkerchief away and then did his best to rearrange his face into a calm expression. Well, no time for pleasantries, I guess, but regardless, it's good to see you awake. I better start from the beginning and we can figure out your condition. You've been unconscious in the hospital for a week. You were hit by a motorcycle and the impact caused quite a bit of damage. It's a miracle you're alive as well as you are. None of your injuries are life-threatening. Unfortunately, you also had some spinal and head damage. The damage to your head was particularly nasty. A head injury? My stomach began to drop in realization. Now then, you asked if there was something wrong with you. Physically, you took some damage, but nothing to warrant anything as dramatic as saying that there's something wrong with you. Please tell me how you're feeling and I'll try to illuminate as much as I can. I gave it to him bluntly. I can't remember anything. The doctor frowned at that. Well, obviously that's not completely true. You definitely remember some things. But the possibility of memory loss was something we were worried about given the potential trauma of the injury. Let's work out what you can and cannot remember. Can you remember who you are? I shook my head. Not even your name? I shook my head again. Then you can't remember any family or friends? I shook my head a third time. Do you have any strong recollections, like particularly strong associations of joy or sorrow, even if you can't remember the details? I thought about it. Now that he mentioned it, I did feel deep pains of guilt and sorrow somewhere within me. I told the doctor as much. Okay, let's return to that in a bit. You remember how to talk, and so you must remember a lot of other things. It's clear that you remember how, and I know this is a vague description, how things work. Like you'll know how math works, so your cognitive abilities are still working. Let's try a different route. Do you remember how apples taste? Yeah, actually I do. I know what they taste like. Interesting. We played a game of 20 questions. My initial self-diagnosis was pretty off. I remembered plenty of things. In fact, it seemed like I remembered most things. I remember that the Cowboys won the 1996 Super Bowl, that Bill Clinton was the president, and things like that. The only things I couldn't remember were anything to do with me, and so far I seem to be making new memories just fine. Well, this is highly unusual. Post-traumatic amnesia isn't particularly uncommon, but most amnesiacs experience anterograde amnesia. I don't know if I said that right, but that is, they cannot make new memories. We'll monitor the situation, but it looks like you have a highly unusual case of retrograde amnesia. That's when you can't remember previously stored memories, and even those cases usually just involve forgetting relatively recent memories, not long-term ingrained ones. Mr. Bark is out of control tonight. My apologies, Chad. Even more so, to have such a highly specific type of retrograde amnesia where only certain types of memories are affected. I've never heard of it happening. I suspect that in time you'll recover your memories. I suspect that the specificity of your amnesia is more likely to lie with your psychological condition rather than your physical. You mentioned a strong remnant feelings of guilt and sorrow. It's likely those feelings are the root cause of your current condition. The accident with the motorcyclist was merely a catalyst that allowed this to happen. That seemed far-fetched, but I decided to trust the doctor. It was a lot to take in. Hold on, give me a quick sec. I'm gonna turn a light on, see if it helps me read a little bit better. There we go. Your ops don't forget you. No, My ops might not forget me, but I'll forget them. It was a lot to take in, but it was reassuring that he thought I'd get my memories back. Then I realized that we were forgetting something obvious. Of course we could figure out who I was. There had to be someone in the area that knew me. I brought this up to the doctor, but his face darkened. We'll send notifications to the police about this and reports will be filed, but no one has come forward regarding you. We're in Alcantra, a small town in northern Michigan. Perhaps it's an area you're not from, so identification from a local who knows you might not be possible. If that's the case, then it might take some time for the police to track down where you're from. Alcantra. The name sounded so familiar. I was positive that I knew the area. No, it was more than I knew about the area. Alcantra must be associated with those lingering feelings of regret and sadness I had. It must have been a part of me, which made it strange that no one had come forward to identify me. I was hit by a motorcyclist, meaning I was out walking. Surely I had some form of ID on me. The doctor's face became even more glum. Have you seen this man? He's okay, he's just a little lost. Anyone know this man? What if he has the thick eyebrows like the man? I'm thinking of the man now. I'm thinking of him. I wish I wasn't. Well, you had a wallet. Perfect. There's no way my driver's license wasn't in there. Unless I didn't have one. But there was no ID in it. You'll dream of him tonight? Oh my goodness. Well, if I dream of him, that means I'm sleeping. And you know what? It can't be that bad if I'm sleeping. I woke up at like 7 this morning, chat. I don't know why. Great. I don't remember who I am, and apparently who I was a loser who couldn't drive. Oh no. Be nice to yourself, Anon. Actually, there is someone who wants to talk to you about that. We have good reason to think your wallet was tampered with. You mean they stole the money? Kaiji Nikki hours. Oh no. No, the money is still there. You still have your $13.47. The tampering was more malicious than that. The doctor gave a big sigh. Honestly, I think you need more time to process all this, but the person who wants to meet you is quite insistent that it's urgent she meets with you as soon as possible. She's going to be sorely disappointed about your condition. His glum face became even glummer. I hope he had enough saved for retirement. He probably deserved it. Frankly, the matter probably is urgent. Are you okay with seeing her? I am. Okay, I'll update her about your condition and then let her in to see you. The doctor got up and walked out the door, leaving me to stew in anticipation. At this point, I was more curious than nervous. About 10 minutes later, a woman walked in. Who are you? She marched in like she owned the place. She glanced at me before taking out a cigarette and putting it in her mouth. In a hospital? Ma'am! Got out her lighter, looked at me again, probably reflecting on the legality of smoking in hospitals, and then lit the cigarette anyway. That's kind of, I'm not gonna say it out loud, but there's a word here that I want to apply to this situation, and I'm not going to because I'm gonna be on my best behavior. The doctor didn't come in with her, which I was mildly alarmed by given her lack of concern for his patient. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but there was something familiar about this detective. Maybe it was the mannerisms. They reminded me of memories I felt I might had. Excuse me really quickly. I had to do a little yawn. After taking a drag on her cigarette, she acknowledged me with, "It's the perfect emote for the perfect situation." So, pretty rough spot you're in, huh? Before I could give her a response, she continued, "I'm Detective Scarlet Storm. I work for the Alcantra police. I tried to get a cool code name like Red Thunder, but they turned me down, so Detective Storm it is." Then she then pulled up a chair, set it down, and leaned in towards me with an unhinged gleam in her eye. She felt more like a hunter than a detective. I was a patient now, but I'd be prey soon enough. Y'all getting called the fuck out. And you deserve it. I mean that with all of the love in my heart. That's not very social. You know about my current condition then? Sure do. Crazy stuff. A little too crazy for a small place like this. She tilted her head, then glared at me like my amnesia ticked her off personally. Yes? I may be a storm, but I know the importance of order. Something's gotta be done right. Can't have a conversation without a proper introduction. Now, I know you don't remember your name, so we'll have to come up with a temporary name for you. I agreed it was probably going to be awkward to go around nameless in the near future, so I nodded. Okay then, let's come up with a name. How about something simple like John? Almost every stream for this fest chat went feral for her. Well deserved, well deserved. I'm gonna give you a clap for that one. I love that. Dumbest thing I've heard. She literally just looked at you and go, "Don't piss me off." You don't look like a John at all. What does a John look like anyway? I realized I had no idea what I looked like since there wasn't any mirrors here and I didn't remember my appearance. Okay, not John then. What do I look like then if we're using my appearances to decide my name? And while we're at it, how old do I look? Hi, Irregular! Welcome, welcome! I hope you're doing well. You look like you were dumped by your girlfriend after 10 years of going steady but not committing to tie the knot. Cried your eyes out, didn't get cleaned up afterwards, and went out and got hit by a car. Or a motorcycle in your case. She laughed at my shocked look and then continued, "Holy shit, she's roasting you, John. You're a little over 6 foot with a medium muscular build. You got short brown hair and some weird stubble thing going on. And you have some sad-ass eyes." She's about to tell him that he has a sadness in his eyes that you only see in European gay porn. I should really be on my best behavior. Not great at guessing these sort of things, but I'm guessing you're in your early 30s. Once I got over the shock of her description, I vowed to take a shower and look in a mirror, but that could wait. I wanted to hear what this case was all about, and for that to happen, I needed a name. No, Super Manager, I didn't realize you were here! So, it looks like I've seen better days, I guess. Remember, the name should be unique, not some John. I don't know what she had against the Johns in her life, but I took some time to think about my name while Detective Storm tapped her foot impatiently. Was the porn gay or just European? Yeah, it was European gay porn. It's a sadness you only see in the eyes of a man who's in European gay porn. How about something like Victor? Victor? What does Victor have to do with a 6-foot bum? I don't know. Something about the letter V stirs up strong emotions in me. Like I have some long negative association with it, and with how I'm currently feeling, negative's the way to go. Be strong, ad gang! She gave me a long look before rolling her eyes. Okay, Victor it is. Let's get down to business then, Victor. I almost said let's get down to Victor then business. As the doctor let you know, your wallet is very interesting. There's no ID in your wallet. Instead, in the little fold where the driver's license typically would be, there's a piece of paper with some words written on them. Words funny enough that the wallet found its way from the medical folks all the way to me. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small, rectangular piece of paper. She held it out toward me. You think you can handle it? Of course I can. I found out I'm an amnesiac today. I can handle anything. I grabbed the note. On the paper in bright red letters, this was written. Her blood is on your hands. Uh-oh. I stared at the note and stared at it and stared at it, and then I remembered what I remembered. That the only part of my memories that remained was a lingering feeling of sadness and guilt. I didn't know who her was. I didn't know what I had done to her, but the message on the note felt right. The note was startling, not shocking. This note was proof that there was an I that had existed. Now that I had to deal with this, did I want to know who that was? The doctor said that my condition was probably psychological. Perhaps there are things better left forgotten. I gave the note back to Detective Storm, who was carefully scrutinizing me, looking for any hint of a reaction. I must have been pretty pathetic to do something bad enough that I felt I needed to try and forget what I had done. So, was there a murder? She pulled out another cigarette before answering. Welcome back, Ad Gang! There was. Brutal one. All I could do was smile at the ridiculousness of it all. I might be the first amnesiac to be a suspect for a murder. Detective Storm must have realized what I was thinking. Oh, don't worry about being a suspect. There's no way you'd committed the murder. I tilted my head at her questioningly. The murder was hours ago. Your alibi is airtight. I already had the note before the murder was committed. However, you must understand that this is all pretty suspicious. Even if you're not the murderer, we've got to consider that you were involved in all of this somehow. I nodded. That's understandable. There's a lot of possibilities to consider. 1, someone who discovered your body didn't like you and decided to pull an elaborate prank. 2, this could be in a reference to a past event and not related to the murder case I'm currently investigating. I didn't do nothing. I just sit here and read. I just sit here and read and look pretty. 3rd, it could be a message in relation to the murder. And lastly, might have been a message you left for yourself. Now, there's still plenty I'd like to know about the person who left you this message. As for why they decided to replace your ID with that note, I have no idea. And, well, if it was you, I'm interested in why you left yourself that note. It was really bizarre. The scenarios in which someone left me the note seemed implausible. Why would they do that? What purpose would leaving the note serve, given I'd just been hit by a motorcycle? And if I left the note for myself, it begged the question of what I had done and whose blood was on my hands. Perhaps the note was supposed to be a reminder of my guilt, and even so, it was a strange thing to do. Your unfortunate condition has put quite a damper on the potential role you might have served in helping me with the investigation. It's not often we get murders around here, and any lead would have helped us. She leaned toward me, and I once again caught that unhinged glimmer. Even so, I'd like your help with the case. As such, I'd ask the doctor if it would be alright if you were to come along and stay with me for the duration of the investigation. Wahoo! From what I hear, you don't have anywhere to go anyway. Until some friends or family come to bail you out from dealing with a hottie like me, I'd appreciate your cooperation. Wahoo, wahoo, that's right. She gave me a wicked smile, like she made me a deal I couldn't refuse. Something about that smile seemed so familiar, even though it wasn't possible that I'd known her. That made me a little hesitant. Still, I didn't want to turn down her offer, for the sake of getting my memories back more than anything. I owed it not to myself, but to the woman whose blood is on my hands. And let's look at the bright side. Staying with a detective would beat staying cooped up in a hospital, going crazy from not remembering things. Who am I? Well, that's easy. I'm an amnesiac potentially involved in a murder case. Who was I? I could have been a murderer. I could have been an accomplice to a murderer. I could have just been an idiot who got caught up in a murderer. Maybe I was just a nobody. I could have been anyone and done anything. Who will I be? That's the real question. I got the feeling that once I remembered who I was, that who I was would determine who I would be. Having made up my mind, I nodded towards Detective Storm. It would be my pleasure, Detective Storm. I look forward to working with you. She nodded back. Should warn you though, might be a spooky case. What do you mean? Many of the local residents think that there's a supernatural element at work. They're saying that these murders are being done for the Ghost of Alcantra. Oh. June 7th, 1987. I woke up at a bright and early noon 30 the day after the festival. I had a groggy staring contest with my ceiling, glanced around my messy room that needed to be cleaned, and headed down to eat breakfast, or brunch, whatever meal label my mother would sarcastically give. Mr. Bark, where did you go? Where did Mr. Bark go? He won't mind if I mess with his blanket, will he? I trudged down the stairs to the kitchen, but stopped once I heard whispering. My mom and dad were chatting with Uncle Kyle around our dining table, but rather than the boisterous wall of noise I expected, the arrival of a relative to cause, the trio spoke in hushed tones. They obviously didn't want me to hear what they were talking about. Something was up. Uncle Kyle was a detective, and he wouldn't show up unannounced unless something had happened. Knowing that they would shut up if I joined them at the table, I crept at the bottom of the stairs to eavesdrop. A big TV like that in your bedroom in 1987? They're rich? Maybe they are. Maybe I wonder what what his parents do for a living. I don't think he said. Oh, was it that bad, Kyle? I could see everyone from where I was hiding. Uncle Kyle just nodded glumly and looked into his coffee mug like it contained a dead dog inside of it. Uncle Kyle is my... Wait, hold on. Mr. Bark might bring his dish in here, and it's really important to me that he does. Look, he's doing it! Finally he's doing it on camera! He's really mad. I've got to go give him food now, chat, so I'm gonna run an ad really quick. If it lets me. I don't think it's gonna let me, but I'll be right back, chat. I'll be right back, okay? He needs hungies. He needs hungies. Okay, chat, sorry about the delay there. But like I said earlier when we played Silent Hill, better we have it an ad break a little soon than have it sprung on us when we're in an important part. Anyway, I'm really happy you guys got to see that. Mr. Bark is so funny. I want to get a good shot of him just throwing his dish one of these days, but that'll satiate me for now. Yeah, feeding time. Although I feel like he just came to me because he just wanted food in his dish, not that he was necessarily hungry. He's like, if I want seconds, I want to make sure it's there so I get them. Alright, let's learn about Uncle Kyle. I could see everyone from where I was hiding. Uncle Kyle just nodded glumly and looked into his coffee mug like it contained a dead dog inside it. Oh no, Mr. Bark, turn away. Uncle Kyle is my mom's brother. All three of them went to Alcantra. My parents stuck around the area like many people growing up around here do, but Uncle Kyle took the more exciting route and left for the big city. Both of my parents work as school teachers, but when something exciting happens, a state detective is called in to investigate, and Uncle Kyle has shown up several times over the years. His first case was dealing with a serial sock stealer. Oh, that's what Mr. Bark does, though. But a murder in Alcantra? This must be a first for him. Yeah, it was a nasty piece of work. Never seen a murder like it. The body was cut into pieces. Each limb was severed from the main body and then cut into several more pieces. They were placed in various locations in the house. The head was taken off and placed in front of the door so it would be the first thing you'd see when you entered the house. That's kind of fucked up. The main torso had a litany of stab wounds. Tell you what, I've been doing this for a while now, and none of the murderers in the city I've worked in were this bad. Nearly threw up looking at the blood all over the place. Mrs. Johnson is downright traumatized. Mrs. Johnson? Is she the one that didn't show up? I don't blame her. Mrs. Johnson? The ice cream stall lady? If she's traumatized, she must have been the one to discover the body, or what was left of it. Then if she discovered the body, who was murdered? My question was answered immediately. I had a dog that used to come in my room and take plushies from my room when I was out. Oh, that's really cute. Mr. Bark won't ever take plushies because he knows that I really like my plushies, but also if I give him a toy that looks like a plushie that I would have, he babies it. Like I like Care Bears, so I have a few Care Bear plushies, but a while back PetSmart got Care Bear toys. So I was like, oh man, this is perfect. I'll get Mr. Bark his own Care Bear. And then he won't play with it as hard as he does his other toys because I think he recognizes that they look like the ones I have. He's a really good boy. He doesn't know it, but he is. He wants a scrubby. I gotta give it to him, chat. Also, if you're new since getting the Mr. Bark cam, you can also give Mr. Bark a treat with 10k channel points if you want. But I'm gonna give him one now. Enjoy it, Mr. Bark. Alright, let me fix something really quick. Poor Marina. I can't believe someone would do that. Oh! That was the lady we were! So Mrs. Johnson went to go check on her. Poor Marina. I can't believe someone would do that to her. Everyone liked her. Marina, that must mean Marina Raddick, the lady who was supposed to help out at the ice cream stall yesterday. So that's why she didn't show up. I guess Mrs. Johnson discovered the body while going to check up on her. Wasn't she supposed to be at the Johnson stall last night? So the murder happened later that night then? No, she never showed up for the summer festival. She was killed in the afternoon. Killer was bold to do it during the day. Must have been banking on everyone else in the neighborhood being at the festival. It was bad luck that there were no witnesses. No signs of a break-in either. All the doors were locked except for the front door and the lock that didn't show any signs of being tampered with. It's likely that Marina knew the person who killed her and then she let them in herself. The festival starts at 10 a.m. and is in full swing by the afternoon. Given how big a deal the festival is, the whole town shows up for it. If the murder was later in the afternoon or early in the evening, there's a good chance that the majority of the neighborhood would be at the festival. Who would she know that would do such a thing? Uncle Kyle just shrugged. Don't know, but whoever they are, they must really hate her. My father leaned in expectantly. So, Kyle, any leads or clues then? Nothing obvious, no witnesses, nothing left at the scene besides the body. Right now, we're looking into people acquainted with her that might have a motive. Mrs. Raddick was pretty well liked, so there can't be that many people with a big enough grudge to do something like this. We'll start with the usual. Family members, past history, lovers, colleagues, stuff like that. Suspects? Just a few. Delilah Loving Smith of the Classy Jack had a very public fight with her a few days ago. Professor Kashak clearly had a thing for her that never worked out for him. Beryl Johnson had an affair with Marina's ex-husband. And of course, there's the Thorns. She used to work for him. Uncle Kyle sighted his coffee. I've been here since last night. Haven't slept a wink since I got the call. Guessing it won't be the only sleepless night. Why did I become a detective? I thought that was a fairly alarming thing for the detective on the case to say, but my parents didn't seem to care. What was she arguing about with Delilah? The new tourism proposal. And of course, anything to do with the new proposal puts the Thorne family under suspicion. The family's currently our #1 suspect. Though I can't imagine that would make your investigation easy. You got that right. Uncle Kyle gave another big sigh as he looked like he'd be happy to drown himself in his coffee. This'll be a pain. The Thorns reside in a mansion in the southwest part of town on a hill that overlooks the business district. To call them influential around here would be an understatement. They are Alcantra, quite literally. They're descendants of Alistair Thorne, the past leader who changed the town name to Alcantra. They originally gained influence from mining and commodizing the copper found in the north of Alcantra. While the copper mines haven't been operational for a long time, they incorporated the fishing and logging the area offered into their business endeavors, and remain the financial focus of Alcantra. To speak of money in Alcantra is to speak of the Thorne family. Given how much money they have, you can imagine how much power they have. They ran this town shortly after it was founded in the 1850s, and they run it now. I say they, but the Thorne family only consists of 2 people and the staff that work for them. Mr. Bark looks so happy. Oh yeah. Are you happy, mister? The Thorns themselves consist of Elgar Thorne, who has to be 1 trillion years old, and his son Vlade. Yena Thorne, the wife of Elgar, died 18 years ago. Elgar is an old stick that nobody likes, which is just as well because nobody sees him anymore. He keeps himself cooped up in their mansion. Vlad is the public face of the family, and he's a funny, friendly, and charismatic dude. Vlade and Elgar actually disagree on a lot of stuff, including the recent tourism proposal, which is Elgar's idea. Alcantra is going through sort of a civil war, or as close to a civil war as a town of 5,000 can get. I guess Elgar decided that the influence of the family could be improved, so he proposed a tourism group meant to promote the locales of Alcantra. Locales, sorry. Alcantra is separated from a nearby town called Hamatra by a canal, and the lift bridge that crosses the canal has quite the reputation. Of course, most of the locals enjoy utilizing the canal, and it becoming a tourist destination would put a major damper on local recreational activities. Oh, he's being really cute. I wonder if he understands what the Mr. Bark camera is. Whenever I say Mr. Bark, he acknowledges it now, and it's really funny. Yeah, you're Mr. Bark. That's you. You good boy. Oh, now he's gonna show you his butt. It's not a popular idea amongst a lot of folk, though others think it could be a great way to bring people to Alcantra given our dwindling population. Vlad has voiced his dissent toward the idea, which makes the Thorn family itself split on the issue. He is a loaf. Why would the Thorns want to get rid of Marina? Marina wasn't involved with the tourism proposal. Don't be naive, honey. You can't trust that family. She worked for them in the past, and you just know that they have skeletons in their closet. I bet they killed her to shut her up about something that would make the proposal go awry. No doubt Vlad and Elgar are working together. If Vlad, I don't know if I'm saying his name right. Vlad voices his dissent. It makes the Thorn family seem not so bad as a whole, and Blade will take over soon anyway, so it's best if he looks good to the locals. Cordelia's probably right. We don't know why they'd want to kill Marina, but we have to be suspicious. If it was the Thorn family, it probably wouldn't be Elgar or Vlad who did the actual killing. They have plenty of connections and enough money to convince other people to do the dirty work. Marina knew plenty of people, and I'm sure some of those people could be bought, even for murder. Trying to find those trails is where we'll start. Of course, getting the Thorns to cooperate is not going to be a whole lot of fun. Uncle Kyle gave a massive yawn and then made to get up from his seat. That was my cue. I quietly crept back up the stairs and then stomped down as loudly as I could to conceal my eavesdropping. When I reached the kitchen, the adults were all trying to pretend like they hadn't been discussing a murder. I thought I could hear Uncle Kyle talking, so I rushed down. So, what happened? Oh, you know, we're just having a lively discussion about a wonderful summer day. Uh-huh, so Uncle Kyle came all this way to talk about the weather? He sure did. You know, he wanted to be a meteorologist as a kid. Uncle Kyle and my dad looked at my mom like she was an idiot, which she sometimes was. I did not want to be a meteorologist. My dad looked kind of hurt. Is this dead? Oh, no! I'm the one that wanted to be the meteorologist. Really? You'd think I'd remember that. Right, you think you would. I guess I got more important things to remember. More important than your husband's dreams? Uncle Kyle ignored my parents and did his best to put on a serious face, which just made him look even more tired than usual, and he was always tired. Nick, I'm sorry I have to say this, but there was a murder yesterday. Marina Radek was the one who was killed. I'm Are you good? What was that about, Mr. Bark? I'm investigating the case currently. I did my best to put on a shocked face. Really? A murderer? In Alcantra? Yeah, but don't worry, we'll get it figured out. So, any investigation details you can tell me? Couldn't hurt to try. Maybe he was feeling talkative. Perhaps I could learn some more than what I had learned from eavesdropping. Absolutely not, Nicholas Fox. Your mother is right. Uncle Kyle smiled a bit. Sorry, Nick. Gonna have to keep quiet on this for now. He gave a big yawn. Well, I'm gonna try and get some sleep while I can. I've got a long couple of weeks ahead of me trying to convince the powerful family to admit their wrongdoing. He went upstairs to get his well-deserved rest. My mother gave me my brunch bacon, which I inhaled. I wondered how the rest of the town was reacting to the news. It's hard to imagine routine life here being disturbed by anything, but if something could do it, it'd be murder. My dad cleared his throat. Nick, your mother and I discussed it earlier, and we've decided it's okay for you to hang out in town like you normally do. That said, we'd like you to be a little cautious out there. Honestly, your dad is such a worrywart. Can't hide in our houses. Best we can do is just keep on living. What are you guys gonna do today, then? I'll probably go see Walburton and Terrence. My mom made a face at that. Them again? You see them nearly every day. Why don't you try hanging with Jenny? Jenny is our neighbor and a longtime friend of mine. I basically never see her anymore because basketball has consumed her life. She is basketball, Mom. Or what about that girl you dated a while back? What was her name again? Cordelia, Jennifer, was 3 years ago. We broke up a long time ago, Mom. We dated for like 3 weeks. But she was such a nice girl. She cheated on me. Only once? Oh my god, Mom! At least I know that she's not like one of those moms that are like, no one's good enough for my son. Because I broke up with her. I shook my head in exasperation. Imagine getting cheated on within 3 weeks. High school is wild, man. Any reason it's gotta be girls, Mom? She wants grandchildren. I want grandchildren. Honey, he's 17. So, 3 years of dating, then marriage, then 3 kids. He needs to get moving. Howard Fox, you and I will soon be ancient history and have nothing to show for it because we're both school teachers and don't make any money. We need Nick to make something of his life and get a family and kids. I told you that you should have finished the masters, and I should have dated the engineer in our class. You mean Tim? Oh, he's in jail now. Didn't you hear? Oh no, the drama. My mom let out a dramatic gasp. No shit, for real? I rolled my eyes, but I could do worse for parents. I finished up my food, got ready, and headed out to see if Walburton and Terrence were willing to hang out. I waved goodbye and let them gossip about Tim the engineer. This is a beautiful background here. Neither Walburton nor Terrence live particularly close to me, but that's not a particularly big deal in Alcantra. On bike, it takes about half an hour to get from one end of the town to the other. We have a little urban area with a Walmart and stuff towards the south part of town and a classy old-school downtown area more towards the northeast, but the pride of Alcantra is our canal front past the downtown area. Walburton and Terrence both live as neighbors in the middle of town. I live pretty much close to the business district at the southern end of town, so I passed quite a few people along the way. It seemed like it was business as usual. I guess people felt like my mom did. Shouldn't people be more disturbed about a murder happening here? Spent 30 minutes waiting for your food from Popeyes. I hope it gets there soon if it hasn't already. That's a long time to wait. What did you order? Was it because we were talking about Popeyes earlier? Did you get the thingy you were talking about in store? Oh my goodness. That's way too long. I'm sorry you had to wait that long. I guess it's not my place to be sorry, but I feel bad. You're probably hungry. Want me to go yell at them? That's parasocial. I can't go yell at them. I'll just beam anger in their direction. No. It turned out not everyone was calm. The first thing out of Walburton's mouth when I showed up at his house was this. Dude, holy shit, did you hear? Never mind, obviously you heard. Mr. Rage must be staying with you. Do you have any details? This is wild, man. Walburton is an absolute king and we stand for him. We stand for him in this house. Hell yeah, I also stand. We stand for him. I'm standing. I did know some details, but I probably shouldn't tell Walburton. There was no doubt he'd spill everything I told him to everyone he knows if I didn't want to get Uncle Kyle in trouble. Sorry, man, I don't know anything besides Marina Raddick being murdered. Damn, figure you'd say that, but I had to ask. Asked my dad about it this morning. Said in his 30 years living in Alcantra, he'd never heard of anything like this happening. We talked about the incident some. Walburton must have been really rattled. We talk about pretty much everything. From the weather, to relationships, to the fragility of human existence. But with Walburton, it usually always comes back around to sports. He loves sports. Unfortunately, the universe did not love him as much as he loves sports. He's around 5'4" and quite chubby, but he does the best with what he's got. I've been thinking about Mrs. Raddick. I'm pretty sure she has a daughter in the area. She's been in Alcantra a long time, though she and her husband split some years back and he lives somewhere else now. But I think her name was Alicia? Yeah, that's the daughter's name. I think she's still in the area. I hope she's doing okay. Someone should go pay her a visit, make sure she's safe, and let her know we're all here for her. Aww. He gave me a tap on the shoulder. I know that brain of yours ain't up for detective work, but you let Mr. Rage know that he should keep an eye out on Alicia. Might be a vendetta against the family. I told him I would. While Burton is pretty popular in school, I attribute it to his heart of gold. He's a funny dude, but he's also a genuinely kind guy. Terrence likes to call us the optimist pair. Both Warburton and I are pretty cheery guys, but he's better at the cheery thing than me. He's a glass half full kind of dude, but the type that would just pour more water in the glass if he thought it looked empty. I'm a glass half full dude, glass half full kind of dude, but because I'm a believer. He's a realist. I'm a romantic. You want to hang out some? I know you're always looking for an excuse to get fit and impress Jenny. Well, Burton grimaced. Sorry, man. I promised my mom I'd help her with some chores. Next time, for sure. I told him no problem and was on my way. I started on my way to Terrence's place next. While Burton and Terrence are polar opposites. They say opposites attract for romantic partners, but I think it's more likely that's true in the case of friends. While Burton and I have been friends for as long as I can remember, but sometime in middle school, While Burton adopted Terrence into our friend group. It was surprising since they fought with each other all the time, but I guess somewhere along the line they found respect for each other from all those fights. Oh my goodness! He's one of them they would call him back then one of them D&D kids. No, I wasn't expecting Terrence to look like that. He's kind of badass though. When I arrived at Terrence's, the first thing he brought up was the murders, just like Warburton. So, your uncle's staying with you. Yep. You know any details? Nope. Figures. What's the point of being connected if you can't take advantage of it? Tell Mr. Rage he's not doing a very good job at being a corrupt cop. When he does become a corrupt cop, you send him my way and I'll do my best to learn. I'll let him know. Wait, since when did you want to become a cop? I don't, but I'd like to be corrupt for sure. Small place like this, hard to make anything for yourself here. I tried to make a helpful suggestion. You could be a good person and make something for yourself. That's some bullshit and you know it. Good people ain't becoming successful. Well, I guess I shouldn't root for your rise to the top then. He shook his head at my not understanding his ambition. Still, I wonder what's up with the killer for the Raddick case. Word is that the murder was absolutely brutal. Wonder what must go through the head of someone willing to do something like that. Terrence likes to psychoanalyze, while Burton is his favorite subject. He thinks that boy has issues. I'm guessing the killer's a psychopath, doesn't think about right or wrong in the same ways most people do. I don't think that's going on with this case. This sort of murderous display screams to me like the killer was trying to send a message, or that this was some sort of fucked up therapy for the killer. It seems too personal to be the work of a psychopath. His analysis made it seem like Dr. Kashik, who had a thing for Marina Raddick, or Beryl Johnson, who had an affair with Marina Raddick's ex-husband, were the most likely candidates. You think like some cliche, like killing for love? Well, Terrence being as goth as he was a happy accident. The artist we hired went hard and we rolled with it. That's awesome, actually. That's really fun. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit congested. Bear with me for a second. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Probably gotta be something like that. Dude, she was like 60. Do old people still fall in love? Holy shit. Of course, you idiot. Anyway, I doubt it was a person who recently fell in love with her. I'm guessing it was someone who loved her a long time ago. That sort of brutality screams to me, if I can't have you in life, I'll have you in death. It must be someone who thinks they don't have much longer to live. That seemed a little out there. I let Terrence rant about how love destroys people's minds for a little longer, then left. Afterwards, I went to bike along the canal front. It's my favorite thing to do during the summer because of the way the breeze feels coming off the canal. We have plenty of trails, but biking on trails takes more effort. If you want to just get lost in your thoughts, the boardwalk along the canal is the place to do it. The news of the murders had occupied my thoughts most of the day, but as my mind wandered while I biked, they wandered back to last night, to the strange girl named Alexandria. It's not every day that you meet someone like that. She was a little weird, sure, but she definitely seemed like she could be fun, too. Just as that thought crossed my mind, there she was, sitting in a gazebo with the same sad look and regal posture from yesterday. I guess she had a thing for looking across the canal, sadly. I biked over. I figured that if shared fireworks viewing established a good enough reason to at least stop and say hello, I set the kickstand from my bike and walked up to her. "What's up, Alexandria? Funny seeing you here again." I thought that maybe we'd begun to break the ice a little bit last night, but upon hearing my voice, she turned around with a panicked look, which slowly turned into a judgmental sort of frown that indicated her displeasure that I dared disrupt her solitude. Okay, guess the ice was still there. Well, not every fireworks viewing results in lasting friendships. The potential we're gonna do it again, chat. We're gonna do ephemerality of our everyday encounters makes them all the more meaningful. Or so I rationalized, as I thought of a good way to make a tactical retreat and leave her alone. Before I could figure out how to do that, she greeted me coldly. "Hello, Nick." Well, at least she remembered my name. "You, like looking at the canal?" She nodded. The ensuing silence between us made the tactical retreat look appealing once again. "You're visiting the area, right? If so, there's a nice waterfall area right across the bridge." She scowled at that. "That's none of your business." "Guessing you still don't have a last name?" "Not for you to hear, anyway." "Yep, let's get out of here. I think me nosy thinking that every lonely person needed to be talked to." "Well, it was good to see you, but I'd better be heading out." I made to leave, but she stopped me with a sudden outburst. Wait, Nick. Did you hear about the murder last night?" "Yeah, of course. Well, I'm new to the area, and I might be around for a while. I heard Alcantra was pretty safe, but then a murder happens. Pretty crazy, right?" "It is crazy. Something like this hasn't happened in a long, long time. Isn't your uncle the detective working on the case? How does everyone know?" "Didn't she just say that she was new to the area?" "And how do you know that?" She smiled at that. "I've got my connections." "That's not much of an answer. Everyone has heard of the Foxes and the cool detective guy who shows up occasionally." "So the people you're staying with told you?" "Something like that. I doubted my family was as well known as she claimed we were, but I saw no reason to hide the fact. Yes, my uncle is a detective on the case, and no, I can't give you any details, but what does this have to do with anything?" She stood up and made an extremely exaggerated gesture with her arms that I couldn't interpret. I think she was just trying to make herself look impressive. Well, not to brag or anything, but I'm somewhat of a detective aficionado. Basically the shut-in loner girl version of Sherlock Holmes. That sort of sentence did not match the Alexandria I had in my mind. "So are you telling me that you're going to catch the murderer?" She waved her hand. "Oh, no, absolutely not. That sounds dangerous, which sounds like something I wouldn't do. No, I'm gonna offer you a deal, though." She pointed her finger at me. "I take it you're well acquainted with this town?" "Very." Then she pointed her finger at herself. "And then we have pitiable old me, a girl with no friends, all alone in a strange new land." She was becoming quite the actress. Never would have guessed it of her. But this lonely girl harbors deep within herself a keen intellect honed through years of solitude. Surely her powers of deduction could be of use to help solve the local tragedy that has recently struck this town. Then she pointed towards the heavens, which were blocked from us by the roof of the gazebo. I attempted my most exasperated sigh. "You did mention you like mystery novels. You really think you can help?" "Maybe a little." Uh-huh, so you want to play Sherlock? Well, I'm sorry, but I doubt they'll let a weird girl without a last name with no stated residency help with the investigation. She laughed, which was the first time I heard her do it. No, probably not. I wouldn't blame them, but I've got a deal for you. If you show me around town, I'll give you my thoughts on the murders. But if you think they're helpful, you can relay them to Mr. Rage. I think it's in the town's best interest that the culprit is apprehended as soon as possible. I couldn't believe this girl. She came up with this convoluted setup to ask me to show her around. What was her game? Was this a ploy to try and make a friend, or was there something she was hoping to get from me? Is this an excuse to try and make friends? No, it's a mutually beneficial offer. You know, it would have been fine to be like, oh, I'm new around here. Could you show me around? I'd really appreciate it. Or something like that. That's absurd. Who'd ask a stranger something like that? I'm not a stranger. We met yesterday. Of course, and to repay the kind hospitality you showed me yesterday, and which I have requested you to show me in the future, I have offered you the extent of my intellectual capabilities. I shook my head. I was still suspicious, but what ulterior motive did she really have? There was really nothing she could gain by hanging out with me besides becoming friends with me. I decided I would take her up on her offer. Sure thing, Alexandra. You got yourself a deal. I'll show you the town and you'll solve the mysterious murder of Alcantra. She nodded like that was the obvious conclusion to come to, smiled, and stuck out her hand. We have a deal then. We sure do. I shook her hand. Okay, so let's hear it, great Detective Alexandria. What do you make of the murder? She shook her head at me. That's rushing things. I need time to synthesize the information. Don't worry. I know you said you can't tell me anything, but I have plenty to work with from what was reported in the news. So you're saying you want to explore town first? Yep. Isn't the phrase ladies first? Yeah, so we should listen to me first, and I say that I should learn about Alcantra. I couldn't argue with that, so I walked over to my bike, kicked up the stand, and started making my way to downtown, which is pretty close to the canal front. She followed a couple of steps behind me. Sorry, I'm gonna adjust in my chair a little bit. My legs are a little stiff. There we go. I'm trying not to do the thing with my chair because you guys notice the shadow every time I do it. I think downtown would be a great place to start, given how close it is, and it's kind of historical, if you're into that sort of thing. Is there anything anything a sheltered sort of princess like you is dying to experience? Princess? No, you can see it. That's my chair. No, but don't complain if it takes you out of your immersion. I turned around and she had a big smile on her face and was a little red. I rolled my eyes. That wasn't meant to be a compliment. What? For someone who was so quick to barb responses, she didn't seem to be all that acquainted with sarcasm. Well, excuse me, princess. Well, the way you hold yourself is very regal. Most people don't care about their posture. Plus, no offense, you can be a little strange, like you're learning how to talk to people and don't have prior experience. Top it off with your more mysterious qualities, like not telling me a last name and stuff. Whoops, hold on just a second. I'm fixing my model a little bit. That's a good point. You're onto something. I'll settle for being a princess. I had no idea what I was on to. She bounded ahead a couple of paces from me, a marked change in demeanor compared to our previous interactions. Let's make this clear while we're on the subject. There are some topics that are off limits. My last name is one of them. Where I'm from and where I'm staying is another. Personal inquiries about my state of mind are also not allowed. Lastly, you cannot ask me about my family. She sure was demanding, but I was getting used to it at this point. Okay, that's fair. I won't ask about those things yet. I won't ask about those things then. What year of school are you in? Princess Hammie of the Kingdom of Hampshire. I don't know about princess. But I'll take it. I'll take it as a compliment. It better be a compliment. She seemed amused by that. I was homeschooled. That explained a lot. I'm 18. I guess I'd have graduated from high school by now. The way she worded that was a little strange, like being homeschooled meant you didn't get to graduate. Hammie's definitely a princess? Really? Really? Wow, never would have guessed that you're older than me. I'm older? I'm 17. Huh, then as your elder, you better start treating me with some respect. With age comes wisdom, after all. Yippee! Wahoo, even. She put a lot of faith in that 1 year she had on me. I realized we had gotten derailed from my original question. I got the feeling that this was going to happen a lot with her. So, back on topic. Anywhere besides downtown you're craving to see? She thought about it for a minute. How about Walmart? Don't worry, we'll go see Walmart. Seriously? You've never been to Walmart? She shook her head. Excuse me, give me a quick second. She shook her head. Maybe she was a princess. Or maybe an extremely religious type who avoided industrial society. We had some of those types around here. Well, we can go to Walmart then. It's across town, so maybe we can do it another time. There's lots of smaller shops downtown that have way higher quality stuff. When we got to the downtown area, I started to explain the little history of the town I knew. She brushed me off, already knew it all and way better than I did. That bummed me out a little. But I love the story behind the summer festival. That's why I was there last night. Madame Hammie of the Hamsters of the East. What do you love about it? I love how hopeful the story is. How Alcantra and Alistar's love transcended the grave. Figures you'd be such a romantic. I ignored that I liked that part of the story too. Of course I am. Everyone who loves stories has to be a little bit of a romantic. You read a lot then? Downham Abbey? I sure do. Lots and lots of books. There's this brand of tea I really like, and they did a collaboration with Downton Abbey. I've never watched Downton Abbey, but they have a tin that has corgis all over it, so I kind of just want to go get the tin of tea. But I can't. I've been really picky because I have a lot of tea I need to go through, so I can't get more tins. But I really, really want to, and I look at it every time I go to World Market. I should do it. Maybe I should. I'll put those subscriptions tonight to work and go get myself a canister of tea I don't need just so I could have the tin with the corgis on it. We went to a coffee shop. According to Alexandria, it was her first time in a coffee shop. I was beginning to worry more and more that she belonged to a repressively religious family. Was it okay to be doing this? If her parents found out, maybe they were going to execute us for heretical premarital behavior like going to coffee shops without parental supervision. Alexandria was petrified when it came to ordering the coffee. She cowered behind me and I tried to telepathically communicate what she wanted and then gave me lots of grief when I got her order wrong. You could have just told me you wanted the hazelnut flavor. She looked sadly into her cup of plain black coffee, reminding me of Uncle Kyle. But then I would have had to talk. And talking is hard. I get it. I love the vegan filter too. It makes me feel really comfy. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but it just makes me feel a little nostalgic and comfy. Talking is hard. Hopefully it would get easier for her over time. I drank my strange raspberry flavored coffee, which was kinda gross. And she drank her plain black coffee, which she said was pretty good, and we headed to the antique shop next. Yay, we love Ryukishi around here. Which was a trip that lasted about 1 minute. She walked in, looked at one of the toy boats, and promptly walked out. I chased after her. Hey, wait up! There weren't even any people in there. Did you see the price on that boat? How could they charge such exorbitant rates? No, I didn't see the price because you walked out immediately. How much was it? $19.95 for that pitiful little boat? What does the economy come to? That was a little bit high for a toy boat. It's an antique shop meant for tourists. They try to get people to spend lots of money. Well, I'm rich, but I'm not buying anything from that shop out of principle. You're rich? Figure of speech. Was it? Do you know anything about the economy? Not really, no. We headed off to our next destination, which was the library. Oh man, this looks like the library in my hometown a little bit. I like her too. She's really fun. I figured since she liked reading, she'd have a good time here, but she told me that her home had a massive library. Maybe she really was rich. I love being around books anyway, even if I've read most of them. There's no way you've read most of them. She raised an eyebrow at me. Don't challenge friendless people to games that can demonstrate their amount of free time. I walked up to the hardest looking books, which I admittedly decided by looking for the biggest ones that looked old. Okay, tell me the plot of this one. She promptly proceeded to tell me the plot of every book I picked. So now I'm spoiled on War and Peace, Crime and Punishment, Moby Dick, Great Expectations, Anna Karenina, Ulysses, and Don Quixote, unless she made up plots for each of them, which would have been even more impressive. I was going to have to keep my guard up around her. She was clearly much, much smarter than I was. So, what books do you read, Nick? I don't read books, and I figured I couldn't bluff my way out of this one, so I headed to the comic book section. Malice. I grabbed a couple of issues I was interested in, and then I returned to face Alexandria. She gave me the most pitying look excuse me, that waking up at 7 a.m. is catching up to me. She gave me the most pitying look I'd ever seen, like she was looking at a cat that was so dumb it was eating its own tail. I wilted on the spot and returned the comic books to their original locations. Okay then, what do you suggest? Her face brightened and she briskly headed over toward the other shelves. She returned with Pride and Prejudice, Dune, The Murder of Roger Ackroyd, and a baseball reference book. I picked some relatively easy reading, but here's some good books even someone like you would probably appreciate. I picked one romance, a sci-fi fantasy book, and a mystery to diversify the reading. I also included some sports nerd stuff because I figured you'd be into that sort of thing. Oh man, you and Warburton can share the book. You can read it together. I was a little touched by the thought. Unfortunately, I now had to read these. But who knows, maybe I'd actually like them. I wasn't going to tell her I had already read the baseball reference book. Uh-oh. I checked out my books and we headed out. It was getting pretty late and let's face it, she definitely wasn't ready for Walmart. We headed back to the gazebo where we met up. I'm sorry that took so long, but I had a good time. Glad I could help out. I feel bad that I didn't offer any of my promised keen insight about the murders. But if you meet me here tomorrow at the same time we met today, I promise to keep up my end of the bargain. No sightseeing, only detective work. Sure, whatever you say. She gave me another smile, which was becoming more and more of a frequent occurrence, and headed off. I headed home as well, thinking that Mom would be thrilled if she knew what I was up to this afternoon. June 8th, 1987. I was on my way to meet with Alexandria. Earlier, I decided to make use of my time before the meeting to learn what I could about the investigation. Uncle Kyle had been sleeping on the couch and my parents were out of the house. I'm a good kid for the most part, but I'm not above a little rule breaking. I casually walked into the room Uncle Kyle was staying in and rummaged around his briefcase to find some details on the suspects. I didn't understand most of the documents, but here's what I was able to find out. The Thorns were obviously the most suspicious. It looked like they were being treated as the most likely candidate to have Marina Raddick killed. The owner and bartender of a place called the Classy Jack, Delilah Loving-Smith, was also under suspicion. She had a public fight with Marina about the tourism proposal. Miss Loving-Smith was a nice middle-aged lady, but she was also incredibly prideful and didn't back down from confrontation. She had been against the proposal and Marina had been for it. They had a pretty big spat about it. The next suspect was Beryl Johnson, not related to the Johnsons who ran the festival ice cream stall. She was an older woman deeply involved with local politics. She's the head of the faction against the tourism proposal. However, the reason she was a suspect was because her ex-husband had an affair with Marina Raddick many years ago. Her ex-husband left town shortly after. The last suspect was Vladimir Kashik, a retired professor in his 70s. I didn't know anything about the dude, but the profile cited that he and Marina both came here from Serbia. Apparently, Dr. Kashik had a massive crush on her when they were in Serbia, but when they reunited here, he took it as a sign of destiny. Marina didn't reciprocate his feelings. It looked like he was a weird dude. Uncle Kyle had a note that mentioned that he kept going on about her ghost and how it kept haunting him. I'm guessing the ghost referred to Marina Raddick. Those were the suspects, and here's how Uncle Kyle ranked them in terms of suspicion. 1. The Thorns. 2. Beryl Johnson. 3. Dr. Kashik. 4. Delilah Loving-Smith. That made sense to me. Delilah Loving-Smith didn't really have much of a motive. Dr. Kashik and Beryl Johnson had potential motives, but were both quite old, and it was unlikely that they would have committed the murder as gruesome in a fashion as the murder ended up being, given the physicality required. That left the Thorns, who had a motive given Marina Raddick previously worked for them, and the resources to have someone killed. The last thing of note I could find was that Alicia Raddick, Marina's daughter, was under police protection right now in case the family was being targeted. That would set Burton at ease. That's what I was able to find. I apologized to Uncle Kyle in my head, but I wanted to see if Alexandria was legit. I got the feeling she was bluffing about being a Sherlockian, and that was just a weird girl visiting town. But if she was on the right track with her deductions, I wanted to know. I left the house a little after 2:30 and showed up right at 3. Alexandria was already there, looking very pompous. I pulled my bike up to her. Hey there, sorry if I kept you waiting. She looked at me a little standoffishly, as if I had kept her waiting. Hello. How have you been? Though I guess it's only been a day. I've been well and have been thinking, and how have you been? I'm well, though I haven't been thinking. As expected, I'm guessing you haven't read any of the books you borrowed yesterday? No. I admitted that, knowing she'd seen through any lies I could tell. You should have told her about the reference book. You should have told her. You already read it. She would figure that. She would have gotten it. She shook her head in an exaggerated motion and gave me a very displeased look. Figures. You can't trust men. They make such sweet promises, only to break your heart. No, it's better to console yourself with the timeless characters of books. Much less heartbreak that way. That seemed a little dramatic. Plus, there seemed to be a lot of heartbreak in the plots of those books you told me about yesterday. True, based. Since when did I promise I would read the books? It was implicit. Okay. I promise that next time we meet, I'll have read all of Pride and Prejudice. Oh my goodness, that's a big declaration, but okay, you said it, not me. And if you don't, we'll jump off that bridge when we get there. She turned to look at the bridge behind us. It was a figure of speech, and speaking of promises, it's time to make good on yours, Sherlock. Are you ready to solve the mysterious murders of Alcantra? Yes, I've put a lot of thought into the case, and I'm ready. She made an exaggerated knuckle-cracking gesture to make herself look important, and I'll do the same. No, I won't. My knuckle... Yeah, one of them popped. Let's get down to business. I'm an expert on murder. I was hoping that was from her murder mysteries. Let's start with Marina Raddick. We know she was an older lady. We also know that her murder was particularly gruesome, involving separation of limbs from body. It seems likely that her mere death was not the only goal given the state of the body. The police didn't report that the house was broken into. That means the murderer was likely someone she knew and was willing to let her into the house. Given this, we can likely conclude that the murderer had a particularly deep-seated grudge. I figured I could play along with her. I told Alexandria about what Terrence had told me earlier and how he thought the best explanation was something like a love affair. That's reasonable. I agree that it's implausible that Marina Radek's murderer killed her out of pure psychopathy. Psychopaths are quite logical. And while the killer waited until there was a low chance someone in the area could be a potential witness to them entering the house, it seems rather bold to murder Miss Radek in her own house when she had a commitment later that evening. Why not wait for a better opportunity after the festival? The killer got lucky no one saw them enter Mrs. Radek's home. Given this, I suspect the murder was actually an impulsive decision. They came here to meet with her and didn't like what resulted from that meeting, ending in a brutal murder. That was something I hadn't considered. It was impressive what she had come up with so far, but she couldn't deduce much more than what was known publicly. However, her next words caught me by surprise. Now, let's move on to the suspects. Wait, you know the suspects? I don't know the suspects. I have figured out some potential suspects. What good would a detective be if they couldn't come up with suspects? I mean, that's true, but did she really go investigating on her own? From what I could tell, there are only 4 real candidates for the murder. Elgar Thorne, Vlade Thorne, Beryl Johnson, and Professor Kashik. How do you know that? She gave me a mischievous smile. So, you do know some details of the investigation. As expected from a relative of the detective. Yeah, I do. I overheard some stuff. But how do you know that? You said this is your first time in Alcantra, right? Yes, but I don't know what that has to do with anything. You couldn't even order a cup of coffee yesterday. Even if you're a great detective, there's no way you have the social skills to pull off an investigation in a town you're unfamiliar with. She raised an eyebrow at me. That's kind of mean, don't you think? Anyway, you don't need social skills to get information. Okay, how did you get your information then? Careful requesting and careful listening. That's not much of an answer. It wasn't much of a question. Are you gonna let me continue? I was suspicious now. There was more to her than she let on. Was her behavior yesterday an act? And what was the purpose of that deal we made? There's also one more suspect. Oh, you mean Delilah Loving-Smith? Yeah. I don't consider her a real suspect. A public fight in your restaurant isn't much of a motive for murder, let alone the type of murder this was. You just put on a detective hat and pipe to get in the zone? Oh man, I want one of those cool little raincoats. We're gonna be the Great Mouse Detective. Did you guys watch that movie growing up? It was a really underrated Disney movie. I really liked that movie. I would rent it and watch it over and over and over and over and over. You did not? Oh, we should have a watch along to the Great Mouse Detective at some point in the Discord. I think that would be kind of fun. I haven't watched that movie since I was little, which is kind of crazy given how often I used to watch it. How did you find out about that fight? I have my sources. And they are? They wish to remain anonymous. I scoffed. Of course they did. Additionally, I think we can rule out Dr. Kashik. He's too old and frail. Who's your Watson? Who's your little bro? Do you want to be my Watson, Malice? That's a cute one. I love The Secret of the Nymph. I haven't seen that one. I've seen the posters and stuff of it, but I didn't watch that one. I'm trying to think of why I picked the Great Mouse Detective off the shelf. You're not little bro. Man. Who would we make you be though? I can't remember any of the characters. I could say super manager, but super manager's not little bro either. Alright, Irregular, you're the only other person here that I think goes by he, him, so you get to be Watson now. Hold on, I'm gonna adjust in my chair a little bit. My legs are really stiff tonight. It's very good, a little dark. I can be little sis, but Watson isn't little sis. We already have too many people shipping Sherlock and Watson. We don't need more. Alright, little bro, put on the monocle. I'm gonna pull up a tab so I can look up Secret of the Nymph later. I can't type at all. Oh my goodness, so cute. I have a friend who, their gender is literally like cartoon mouse. It's awesome. Can I be Irene Adler? Was she in The Great Mouse Detective? Sure. Holy poo, Holmes. Oh wait, that's a Robin. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. It looks like she didn't know about the ghosts Dr. Kashik mentioned, so she wasn't omniscient. Beryl Johnson is more spry, but I doubt she did it as well. She's a simple character who wears her heart on her sleeve. She's in charge of the anti-tourism proposal faction and really cares about it. She wouldn't do something to risk her image right now, and that just leaves Elgar and Blade Thorne, who are the most obvious candidates from the start. But was she in The Great Mouse Detective? We're specifically talking about The Great Mouse Detective. It's very, very important. Wouldn't the Thorns care about their image as well? The Thorns care about their image, but unlike Beryl Johnson, they have the capability to hide their involvement. The Thorns are the only ones to really lose much with Marina being alive if if she had info that could compromise the Thorn legacy gained from when she worked there. But why would they take such a dramatic route for killing her then? She worked for them. There's a good chance she had personal ties to them. She gave a triumphant smile. That lets us conclude quite a lot. Oh my goodness, hold on. My nose is so sniffly. The murderer is someone from the Thorn family who had a personal grudge with Marina Radek related to the information the Thorn family wants to keep secret. They went to visit her to find out what she knew, and when they found out, they killed her. This isn't a murder mystery. This is an issue of whether a powerful family is powerful enough to keep their criminal activity under wraps. Her face darkened. The likely impulsiveness bothers me, though. If it was the Thorn family, you'd think they wouldn't have done this during the daytime. That seems so risky. The murder being impromptu, based on what they found out from Marina, is still the most likely scenario, but to kill her right then and there? That suggests someone from that family is pretty unhinged. She looked at me. I also suspect our killer isn't done yet. I hadn't even considered the possibility that there would be more murders, so it was so bizarre for Alcantra to have any murderers running around, let alone a serial killer. That was a scary thought. Alcantra had been my home for all my life. I couldn't imagine it ever being somewhere dangerous to live. Why do you think they aren't done yet? This is just a feeling, but given the likelihood that the killer isn't... How should I say this? Thinking all clearly, I worry that they're aiming to settle all personal grudges related to whatever caused them to kill Marina. The Thorn family normally works with a clear modus operandi, but they wouldn't resort to something drastic like this. I really hope you're wrong. So do I. So between Elgar, Blade, or both, who do you think it is? I'd guess it would have to be Elgar, since Blade was born right around when Marina left. But he's kind of old, don't you think? Do you think he really could have pulled that off? For precisely that reason, I don't think it's Elgar Thorn. Well, there's a lot of people at the Thorn Mansion. It doesn't necessarily have to be Elgar or Vlad. No, I think it's Vlad Thorn. You do? How do you know that? He was just born when she left, and that'd make it kind of weird for him to have a personal grudge against her. She just shrugged. Gut feeling. I rolled my eyes, but aside from that last statement, I was pretty impressed with her detective work. Pretty impressed, but pretty suspicious as well. There was much more to her than she let on. Well, you really lived up to your end of the bargain, but surely you have more than just a gut feeling to suspect Vlad? Alexandria's face darkened again, looking downright venomous. No, just a gut feeling. If there is an impulsive murder among the Thorns, it's definitely Vlad. That's not very deductive. To my surprise, she smiled. Well, I can't be perfect on everything. She let out a big breath. Phew, that might have been the longest I've talked in my life. A Thorn family member, probably Vlad, visited Marina Radek to find out what info she had about the Thorns from her time working for them and killed her out of a personal grudge once they found out. She gave a silly little curtsy and I gave her some applause. She looked very pleased with herself. I decided I could play along with some more. If you're Sherlock, I guess that makes me Watson. I slumped my shoulders in defeat. Watson's supposed to be dumb, isn't he? Alexandria laughed. She leaned in a little bit toward me and said mischievously, why did that one get me? Don't worry, you'll make a wonderful Watson. I couldn't tell if that was an attempt to flirt or if she was just calling me dumb. I suppose the two weren't mutually exclusive. So can I relay your deductions to Detective Rage, or is this supposed to stay between us? Sure, go ahead. Watson is actually a medical doctor, so he's not dumb. I always thought he was really smart, just a little bit anxious. Look, it's Watson. Well, just once I wanted to be like, if you're Sherlock Holmes, here's some cocaine. Should we consult the poly market on who it is? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on. Oh, I'm getting a little sleepy. I'm so sorry to keep yawning. I promise it's just because I woke up really early. I felt so bad the other day. I was really enjoying Soul Set, but it was another case of I yawned like all day and I was so tired. A little eepy sleepy. I know, today would have been a good day for a nap. I decided to play Silent Hill instead of nap though. Shocking number of Sherlock Holmes fans in chat tonight. It is! I kind of dig it though. It was a good group to play this game with. Sorry, give me another moment. I might finish up here before too much longer because I'm both getting almost too congested to keep reading, but also I'm really eepy and I don't want to get too eepy for this story because I'm really excited and I really like it so far. But we'll go a bit longer. Sure, go ahead. I hope it helps him with the investigation. Let him know that you're learned this all from this charming and mysterious detective girl you met. But if he decides to act on anything, then he didn't learn it from me. Say the whole thing, Hammie. I like video games. Or wait, no. I like playing video games, but I'm not very good at them. Like that? You're really okay with me telling him about you? You seem like the type to keep yourself a secret. Eepy sleepy. Eepy sleepy. She gave me that mischievous look again. I know it must be tempting to keep me all to yourself, but I can't hide from people forever. Thanks for the head pat, Eepy sleepy. Also, I was hoping this wouldn't be the end of our deal, and if we still met up with each other, you know, I'd have to eventually meet other people, you know, so... Oh, she wants to make friends while she's here. I can't blame her. She trailed off, looking a little awkward. I stepped in to help her out. Of course, I always assumed this wasn't a one-time deal. I still have to take you to Walmart after all. Man, you'll go into Walmart and they'll still have the happy face signage. You mean it? Sure do. Do you, have lots of friends? Well, sort of. I have lots of friends, but it's summer break, so people are off doing different things. I have 2 very close friends I hang out with during summer all the time. I took a look at her. She was trying to hide a smile now. You really are lonely, huh? Sure am. I thought that was a kind of a pathetic thing to admit, but she seemed happy enough now. We had made plans to meet up, which I promised to take her to Walmart. We agreed that she would contribute to the mystery when she could between our town excursions. Before she headed out, I asked her a question. Hey, Alexandria, be honest with me. Am I your first friend? We're friends? Unless you don't want to be. No, I'd like to be friends. You just, caught me off guard, you know. You, non-princess types use that word very casually. Oh, she's really cute. Uh-huh. And yes, she gave me one last smile for the day. You are. She left with that. I didn't head home immediately. I stayed at the gazebo looking at the canal a little longer. I had things to wonder about. The murders were mysterious, but they aren't the only mysterious thing. Alexandria, you're mysterious too. Are you just a shy girl trying to make friends, or is there something more to you? There were several things that didn't really add up. Obviously, there was the fact that she wouldn't tell me about her personal situation, but what made me the most suspicious was that someone who was supposedly new to the area and didn't have any connections knew so much about the suspects in the case. It seemed like she knew even more than I did, and I've lived here my entire life, plus had access to investigation files. How did she learn what she knew? There was also her strange certainty about some of her deductions. There was the insistence that Mrs. Raddick's murderer killed her impulsively. It was possible, but I don't know how you could really determine that. Additionally, why was she so certain the murderer was Vlad? It seemed like if one of the Thorns did it, it would more likely be Elgar, given he's much closer to Marina's age and much more likely to have personal ties to her. It seemed to me that Alexandria has concluded that Vlad was the murderer and built her deductions around that. To her credit, her story fit reality pretty well. I wouldn't be surprised if she was right. There was something a little creepy about that. She proposed this deal to me. I thought it was to make friends. I wanted that to be true, but I had my doubts now. What if there was something she was hoping to achieve from this? But I just couldn't think of anything she'd gain from this deal if that were the case. I let out a big sigh. You really are a mystery, Alexandria. Alright, chat. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll cut off here. That was a good spot to cut off, I think. I was planning on maybe assessing how I felt when the scene changed, but I just got really, really congested out of nowhere, so I think it's my body telling me it's time to go lay down. I really like this story a lot, and I can't wait to read more. I'm gonna put it on my laptop so I can read it on there too. But yeah, thank you every Hammie that came to join me tonight. I had a lot of fun. I'm sorry it wasn't super long of a stream. If I'm feeling icky when I wake up in the morning, it might delay our Silent Hill F stream, but I'll let you guys know. I'll let you guys know what I'm thinking when I get up in the morning. Should we go ahead and perhaps find someone to read into, maybe? Let's see. Who is going? Who's going strong? That's the question. Thanks for checking the game out. Hope you continue to enjoy it. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to reading more. Thank you so much for introducing me to your game. I love a good mystery. And I know my chat also loves a good mystery. So I think this was a very good story to read tonight. Let's see. Yeah, thank you. And then chat, if you want to read more too, make sure you go pick it up on Steam. Oh, Irregular, I like that raid message. Let's use that one. I like that a lot. You can't beat the price. Absolutely not. You can't. Irregular has a good message. I'm gonna try and copy it so I can also use it. But yeah, thank you so much for making time to come to our stream tonight. Let's go ahead and let's see. Let's see, who is going? It looks like Mod Zepp is playing Genshin Impact. He also has drops enabled, so if you also have Genshin Impact, you might get some goodies from watching him. Alright. Let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and raid on over to Mod Zepp then. Oh wait, hold on. Give me a second. I think there might have been a typo. There might have been a typo. Is it elementary or element? Hold on. I can't type. I think we're fine. We're fine. Okay, chat. Thank you for coming by. I'll see you tomorrow, probably. Yeah, tomorrow we're gonna play Fledgling Manor. Oh, was it on purpose? I mean, I'm happy either way. I'm happy with it. You guys have a wonderful night, though, okay? Be safe. See you next time. Is that it then? Is that it? We'll do that. Good night, Hammie. Good night, Blackberry. Good night, chat. Good night, Ham Nation. For reals this time, no Midwestern goodbye.